Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special edition. This is going to be a fireside chat with Dapper Labs. On stage with me is Maher. I'm sorry if I said the name incorrectly.
Perfect.
He's the SVP of Partnerships at Dapper Labs. Great to have you on.
It's definitely great to be here.
Wonderful. Also, could you kind of for the audience members that don't know a little bit about you, would you be able to kind of give a quick introduction of what you do at Dapper Labs and how you came to Dapper Labs as well?
Yeah, of course. So my official title here is SVP of Platform Partnerships. And to understand what that means is to understand that, we have really two components of our business. We have the studio, and the studio, is the producer of CryptoKitties, producer of NBA Top Shot, and will be the producer and builder of, our La Liga initiative and our NFL initiative. And then we have the platform, which is essentially all of the, supporting products for our Flow third-party ecosystem developer. So, if you're looking for tooling or to build into the Flow ecosystem and need assistance with that, if you're a third party, I basically handle all of those relationships and making sure the Flow developers get what they need from a Dapper tooling perspective. I've been at Dapper 3.5 years now. And I got into Dapper through CryptoKitties. CryptoKitties was a discovery of mine on Twitter. I started dabbling a little bit in CryptoKitties. And given my 14 or 15 years in consumer application or the gaming space, I was very early when Facebook opened their platform to apps. I was also very early to mobile in the mobile application and mobile gaming space. And as that platform or ecosystem started to saturate or plateau, I knew there was going to be another type of platform, another type of emerging technology that all these talented creative developers were going to kind of flood to in droves. And once I experienced CryptoKitties and got deep into it and saw everything that it was about, I was sold there. I was sold on NFTs and the future of, blockchain for consumer applications back in, early 2018. And I've been here ever since.
Yeah, with CryptoKitties, everyone remembers when Ethereum first experienced it's kind of biggest wave of what is going on. CryptoKitties literally took over the chain for quite some time. So it's really great that you kind of saw that happening and then decided to push forward and become a part of it as well.
Yeah. We were the cause. We were the cause of a lot of those issues, and a lot has happened with the company and with the space over the last 3 years, and there's a lot of innovation going on, and those days are long behind us. So looking forward to the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to kind of let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into Dapper Labs. So we know that you've been pioneering the NFT space industry, but bringing together literally the traditional world into the cryptoverse. So which areas have you been seeing massive demand for, and how does Dapper Labs help companies on board to cater to those new experiences?
Yeah, the demand ever since Top Shot, kind of if we're backing up here. The goal or the purpose of our company is really to bring, the first billion users to blockchain technology through games or entertaining consumer applications. And that's really what Top Shot is all about. Top Shot is a consumer application that, has a built-in audience of over 1 billion globally. It's a very entertaining, innovative product built on a blockchain and taking advantage of most, if not all, of what blockchain technology has to offer. So it's really something that folds into our greater goals very, very well, as it's definitely a step in the right direction to getting that first billion users onto the blockchain. But, you know, what we're doing as Dapper Labs is only a very small subset. We are a single NFT studio building on the full blockchain that we produce for, you know, specifically for these purposes. There are a whole world of other open ecosystem third-party developers building, you know, into Flow, into the Ethereum ecosystem, et cetera. I think the most recent numbers, I haven't looked this week, but we're approaching 4,000 developers building on Flow. So Dapper Labs is only, you know, simply one of those studios. There are a good 4,000 more from all kinds of creative developers and entrepreneurs that are fully exploring the space.
Yeah, that's a lot of developers. And then also building onto the Flow network as well, and kind of having, you know, get that ecosystem to fully thrive to that 1 billion users. And kind of speaking about Flow as well, is that also Dapper Labs has like a Dapper product, which is like called Dapper, for like Dapper Wallet.
Yeah.
Like for that one, is like, can you dive a bit into more like why you guys chose to allow like kind of like credit card stuff, and like how does that mean to like lead to like mass adoption? Because I know like there's been a lot of friction with people saying, hey, look, I want to buy an NFT, but, you know, I'm not too sure of how to use MetaMask or things like that. But you guys literally made it, you know, integrated to where it's like easier user experience.
Yeah, look, Flow was created by real application developers who built products at scale on the Ethereum blockchain, and multiple products at that, and multiple different types of products. So as an organization, we are intimately familiar with Ethereum inside and out from a technical perspective. We know what works, what doesn't, etc. So Flow is really, you know, it's something that we didn't necessarily set out to build. We wanted to build top shot like applications. We wanted to be an application developer building beautiful products that you know, attract a mass market audience. But given the challenges we had with Ethereum, you brought them up earlier. I mean, crashing the network multiple times with CryptoKitties, which was, you know, 10, maybe 20,000 users, and you know, we're talking that versus trying to bring 1 billion users to the table. It's kind of a non-starter. So we very quickly went out and researched 50, 60 different blockchain projects over a course of 6 to 8 months. And, you know, doing that deep dive in that research, you know, talking to the teams, trying to work with the Ethereum Foundation, trying to figure out what technologies or blockchains were out there or were going to be produced in the, you know, upcoming months or years that could really support the initiatives that we wanted to build. And the conclusion we came to was that there were no technologies that were really building for the use cases that we wanted to support without making tremendous sacrifices. Most, if not all of them, were completely optimizing only for scalability, because that was what was really obvious with Ethereum, is it wasn't scalable. So a lot of the outsiders versus we were insiders, we were building, a lot of the outsiders addressed what they saw from the outside. They said, hey, look, Ethereum's not scalable. Well, that's true, but that is really almost a secondary issue, because scalability will only matter if you can actually attract a mass market user to the product. And I mean, people would argue, even within this organization, what the biggest issues we were experiencing with Ethereum and those products were. But in my opinion, it is the onboarding. If you want to bring your typical NBA fan into that type of experience, you're going to lose the high majority of them going through the MetaMask, gas, buying crypto, and that educational process and that UX funnel. It's just going to bleed users out where it wouldn't even be a viable endeavor to try to build something mass market. So that's something that we knew had to be fixed first. So when we decided to build Flow, that was one of the main pillars that we focused on, that we needed to have a blockchain built from the ground up that supported mass market adoption. And we made it easy to build these types of credit card or fiat payment experiences on top of the blockchain. We just so happened to be the first mover and innovate first on bringing direct credit card payments to the NFT space, bypassing crypto altogether. And really the thinking behind that was, if we want to attract a mass market user, we need to make this experience as close to what a mass market user is used to, app stores, e-commerce experiences. And that's what we set out to do. And I think we did it very, very successfully. And the NBA Top Shot adoption and user data and user acquisition funnel definitely shows that we made the right choices and the right moves there.
Yeah, and I remember when it was like my friends were coming to me, they're like, "Oh, I got this pack," and I was like, "Oh, you bought an NFT?" And they're like, I was like, "Oh, did you buy like Ethereum or anything?" They're like, "No, I just used my credit card." And I was like, this makes it like so much easier for them to kind of really onboard, because like for them, they're fans. They're not technical people. They didn't want to have the integrations with like crypto and everything, but they were still able to partake in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, and we kind of have the best of both worlds here, because the default is the credit card or the mass market experience, but also crypto native or very technical people that understand the crypto nature of things. We also heavily support crypto payments on all of our projects or across the Flow blockchain. So if you are a non-custodial user that wants to take that route is easy to go. It's just not the default route, because the default route needs to be something a mass market user understands.
Mm-hmm. And kind of wanted to kind of touch on the topics, because we brought up two projects, NBA Top Shots and also CryptoKitties, and they've literally been like the #1 and #2 DApp on in the entire world. So it's like I wanted to kind of ask, like, what do you think is the #1 thing that led to the two applications to reach such a massive audience and stay consistently at the top of the charts?
Look, we've been doing this a long time, and we know this space better than anyone, by a lot. And the longer we're around and the more we build, the more institutional knowledge we build up. We've got millions of users now on Top Shot, and we're learning from that scale, just as we learned from building into Ethereum and building into Ethereum at scale. There's a very select few groups that reached the scale that we did on Ethereum all the way back in 2017, 2018. So that institutional knowledge gets built up over time. And the institutional knowledge, plus just the quality of team and folks we have over here, from a creative perspective, a product perspective, an engineering perspective, a business perspective, all of those things combined allow us to keep pushing projects forward, to keep innovation up, and continue to be the leaders in the space. So I would say a combination of all of those factors really drive us forward as a company, and really allow us to continue to innovate and continue to stay on top of things here in terms of leaders in the DApp ecosystem.
And you guys been like literally at the forefront of the NFT revolution, all the way back since 2017, 2018. I mean, I remember when around, even 2019, well, we hosted like E3's first blockchain gaming stage, and literally everyone was still like, what are NFTs? And like full swing till now, they're just all like, oh my God, like there's so many use cases for it as well. Like there's now it's switching from art, fashion, music, it's going to multiple categories that are expanding around. So it's like, where do you see like the future of NFTs as it becomes more mainstream and more users start to become a part of the bigger ecosystem?
Yeah, look, one thing is that we actually, our company and specifically our CTO invented the NFT. The first ERC 721 was CryptoKitties. And I've been here, like I said, 3.5 years. So you can imagine the difference in conversations that I'm having now versus when I was going into large brands or large, movie studios or IP partners, talking about NFTs and CryptoKitties. Very, very hard to get across. And to a lot of our current partners' credit, they were early adopters from a corporate perspective, especially the NBA. They deserve a lot of credit for diving in, because CryptoKitties was a very weird and obscure pitch to more of a mainstream or corporate type audience or entity. So kudos to those individuals in those organizations that saw the vision. But as we're here today, I've got my door is being beat down by everyone and anyone in all types of genres or business lines. So I don't, look, I don't know where this is going. It's going somewhere fast and somewhere that's world changing. But part of why we built Flow and part of why we believe in this space so much is because it's a true open source ecosystem where anyone can come in, create, and monetize their creations. And they can use previous creations, smart contracts, technologies that have been built to accelerate the development of their creations, right? So the community, and the more users and more developers you can bring into this, the more creativity that you bring into this, the more interesting projects that we're probably not even thinking about today will exist over time. I mean, like the DeFi space is one of them. I mean, anyone in the space, it seems obvious and just mainstream now that this DeFi ecosystem exists. But 3 years ago, pre-CryptoKitties, like what is going now today in DeFi would be just such a foreign concept. It'd be almost unbelievable to think of. So space is accelerating. You unlock millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of creators with open source technology. Who knows where this could go, but it's going somewhere very, very interesting. And look, when folks talk about the metaverse, no one actually knows what that is. No one knows what they're talking about or what that actually looks like. And I don't think it's possible to know what that looks like. I think it will kind of materialize out of the creativity of all these collaborators coming together and deciding together, using all these building blocks, what an actual metaverse, for lack of a better word, would look like.
Yeah, and then also kind of on the DeFi side too, it's like a lot of people are exploring NFTs and finding a way to integrate DeFi into it and everything. So I think within the next, let's say a year, because DeFi moves so fast, NFTs are moving so fast, even the metaverse side too, people are now innovating with NFTs. And I think that, if you guys are providing the on-ramp to where it's really easy for developers to focus on and really help them build, it's an easier way for them to build, the ecosystems are just going to get bigger and bigger over time. And I think that with 1 billion users, you guys might be going to be looking next year, the year after, to already hit those goals. I mean, you guys are already doing so much on NBA Top Shots.
Yeah, and we've got the new NBA season coming up. We've got the NFL deal, we've got the La Liga deal. So tens of millions of users utilizing the blockchain just through Dapper Studio initiatives is definitely on the horizon. And then when you add in 3,000, 4,000 creative developers building into it from a third party perspective, maybe a couple of those take off and are hits, you're looking at hundreds of millions of users through the third party ecosystem. So I think we're on our way here to a pretty significant network effects within the Flow ecosystem, and many interesting NFTs and NFT use cases will be brought out of this, through Dapper and through our amazing third parties building into the ecosystem.
we're starting to kind of like get to like the part of the ecosystems to where I feel like they would start intertwining pretty soon. You know, having it to where if you're building on the blockchain, everyone's going to be working together, and they're all smart contracts. You can make it interoperable with one another. And to kind of like wrap things up as well, is like I wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit on like what do you see? I would say like any what would you see of kind of like all these games, or not all these games, all these applications kind of commingling with each other? Are we going to see like cross kind of like cross things like with NBA Top Shots, to where it's like you can have season passes for like certain games and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to give away anything, any of the surprises with NBA Top Shot or any of the stuff that we're doing, but I think in general, where the space is today and what moves this space forward are things, is basically building utility into any of these NFTs. I mean, a big reason to do this is this brings a brand or a creator much more closely or directly in touch with their fan base. And, this is a digital medium, and in bringing fans closer to you, you should utilize the digital medium for everything it has to offer. You should utilize the blockchain and the blockchain technology for everything it has to offer. And, whatever that utility might be, you should certainly, whenever you launch an NFT project, think through what the use cases or the utilities are for these particular assets. So we've already experimented with, physical utility for NBA Top Shot collectors. We invited a number of collectors to an NBA Finals game. We invited a number of collectors to the NBA draft based on certain criteria. And those types of things will continue to happen and probably get much more interesting. I think, when you start talking about getting even closer to the game or closer to the athletes or teams you're fans of, maybe you start maybe a collection of NFTs of a certain player starts to get you access to that, more directly to that player somehow. So those are physical digital tie-ins, but the digital to digital utility tie-ins, I don't know, that opportunity is endless. And the more and more community creators or community members you have building on top of these specific these specific projects, the more and more interesting use cases NFTs will have moving forward in the future.
Well, thank you, Mickey, for your time today. And also, you guys, if you guys are listening in, they're also going to be giving away a few packs as well. We'll give you more description on which ones those would be coming up. And we're really excited. And thank you so much for coming on here today. And also to the audience, where would they be able to find you on like social media?
You can find me on my Twitter, or my Twitter is not that interesting. I would recommend following, Flow Blockchain's official Twitter account, or the Dapper Labs official Twitter account. Flow Blockchain is Flow_blockchain. And I think the Dapper Labs is just Dapper Labs.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you, Mickey, and thank you for your time today.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I've got to hurry up because I want to pack. And I don't want to miss it.
All right, won't keep you too long. All right, thank you.
All right, cheers. Thank you.